Today we will look at basics of writing. Within that we will look at structure of a paragraph. So, what goes in it, what makes a good paragraph, what are the elements. So, these are some of the things we are going to discuss in this class. So, a paragraph you can say is the basic building block of any text, be it an article, a research paper, or a longish thesis, dissertation, or books. The basic block is a paragraph. So, you go on adding paragraphs, then you get books, theses, dissertations, and so on. So, the writing actually starts with writing a paragraph. So, you may wonder, so what is there to learn about writing a paragraph? So, I know the language, I just write sentences and then it becomes a paragraph. Is that simple? Let us look at a sample paragraph and then we will discuss what all elements go into making a good paragraph. Let us read this paragraph. Instead of breaking into a jog too quickly and risking injury, take a relaxed and deliberate approach. Before taking a step, spend at least 10 minutes stretching and warming up using any exercises you find comfortable. When you have completed your warm up, set a brisk pace walking. Exaggerate the distance between steps and swing your arms briskly and loosely. After you have walked for say 100 yards, you should feel ready to jog. Immediately break into a very slow trot. Do not bolt out like a sprinter. Remember to keep your shoulders straight and your head up. One final word, do not forget to enjoy the scenery around. After all, it is one of the joys of jogging. So, what is the topic of this paragraph? This paragraph is about jogging. To be particular, this paragraph details out how one should ideally start jogging. So, this is a kind of you can say a process description of jogging. So, now let us analyze this paragraph. So, usually a good paragraph has a topic sentence and then the details are built around it. So, what is this topic sentence? We have observed earlier as well that a paragraph has an idea and this idea, main idea, is captured in a sentence and this is usually called the topic sentence. So, the main idea is stated in the topic sentence and then the rest of the paragraph elaborates on it. So, how it is going to do depends on the kind of discourse pattern you choose. So, looking at the paragraph we just read, here you can observe that the very first sentence, instead of breaking into a jog too quickly and risking injury, take a relaxed and deliberate approach. This is the topic sentence because it introduces the topic, that is jogging, and then also it makes it very clear that the rest of the paragraph is going to explain what it calls a relaxed and deliberate approach to jogging. So, this is the topic sentence and then you find the rest of the paragraph except the last sentence of course. Here are the details about this relaxed and deliberate approach. So, there are steps. Before taking a step, spend at least 10 minutes stretching and warming up. So, this is step number 1. When you have completed your warm up, set a brisk pace walking. This is second. Exaggerate the distance. This is third. After you have walked for 100 yards, you should feel ready to jog. Fourth, immediately break into slow trot. Fifth, do not bolt out like a sprinter. Remember to keep your shoulders straight and your head up. So, these are the details about this relaxed and deliberate approach. You see that some words are here italicized. These are linkers. They are very crucial to establish links across the steps explained. So, for example, before taking a step, so this is the linker here, then when you have completed, so this is the linker here. So, these things help bind these sentences together. Then come to the final sentence. One final word, do not forget to enjoy the scenery around. After all, it is one of the joys of jogging. This is not directly related to this. This is a kind of, you can say, conclusion, and it is a nice way to complete the paragraph. So, you can see that this paragraph starts with a topic sentence and then the rest of the paragraph elaborates on it. So, this is how you structure a paragraph. So, what makes a paragraph a good one? Experts usually say that there are 3 things which makes a good paragraph. These are unity, cohesion and coherence. Let us look at these things one by one in detail. First is unity. So, effective paragraphs usually observe the principle of unity. So, a paragraph is a unit of structure. So, what it means? It deals with one idea or with one phase of a larger idea. So, this is very important. One paragraph, one idea. So, that is what we call unity. So, in the previous example, we saw that there was a paragraph and that paragraph was about jogging, how to start jogging. So, only one idea was discussed. Sometimes you have a larger idea, you break that into multiple paragraphs. Even then, each subsection of it is dealt with in a paragraph. So, a paragraph in that case deals with only one subsection of that larger idea. And if you have digressions, this unity is actually destroyed. So, you have decided to start with an idea, then you move to something else or you move to another subpart, and as a result both those things do not get elaborated. The unity of your paragraph is destroyed and your paragraph does not read well. So, if you have a minor digression, you may just cut it out and retain the unity. If you think your paragraph has multiple ideas and each of those ideas actually requires a detailed treatment, then you should make separate paragraphs. Say you have 3 sub ideas, then ideally you should have 3 paragraphs. Okay. Now, let us look at a paragraph and then understand why it is important to observe unity. I am going to read the paragraph. Well built and comfortable houses can be built for a small amount of money. Any family with small means may build a well-equipped home a short distance from the city limits for less than they could live on in a rundown apartment. Materials for building are also important. Houses are more and more being built with steel frames. The windows are usually steel sashes, the outside may be almost any type, brick, stone or wood. Do you see any problem with this paragraph? You can see that the paragraph starts with one idea and then in the middle it suddenly jumps to something else. So, to begin with, this paragraph talks about building well built and comfortable houses for a small amount of money. So, this is one aspect the writer has here taken up. So, then the second sentence develops on it. Any family with small means may build a well equipped home a short distance from the city limits for less than they could live on in a rundown apartment. So, it elaborates on that and then you naturally expect that the writer will develop on it and give more details, say how you can build your own house for small amount of money and so on. But here you can see that the writer jumps to another topic, that is materials for building, and then talks about using steel frames, materials for windows, then outside and all these things. And note here the first one is something related to money, and here these materials the writer here does not discuss the cost of it. Then at least one could have said yes, it is in some way connected to what the writer has started discussing in the beginning, but this is completely different. So, ideally this from here it should be a separate paragraph. So, now you see that the writer has started with an idea, it is not well developed. There is another idea, this is also not well developed. So, this is what happens if the paragraph does not observe unity. So, if your write up has these kinds of paragraphs, then you will get low marks. So, as we saw, so this is the original idea, people can build houses for a small amount of money, then there is a major digression and as a result the unity fails in the paragraph. So, how do we maintain unity? You can use topic sentence as a useful tool to maintain unity of that particular paragraph. So, topic sentence provides the controlling idea that unites the sentences and gives them. So, if you are beginning to write, then it is actually a good way to begin writing your paragraph with the topic sentence. So, first put down the topic sentence and then think about what details you are going to add to it, and remember you need to add details only those related to your topic sentence. So, as we saw in the example, a typical paragraph has the topic sentence at the very beginning, sometimes it can be at the end or sometimes it may be implicit. Now, we have another example. Here, let us look at the paragraph first. Okay. So, let us read it. After a civil war in 1948, a military junta took temporary control and wrote a new constitution. It abolished the army, gave women the vote, made conservation of the country's natural resources a law of the land, and handed the country back to democratically elected legislators. So, as other countries in Central America struggled through civil wars, insurgencies and brutal dictatorships, in the latter half of the 20th century, Costa Rica became a beacon of hope, a stable democracy and a tourist mecca that promoted biodiversity, conservation and renewable energy. So, this is taken from an article, an unexpected victim of Costa Rica's drug trade. So, if you do not know the title of this, then now it is very difficult when you begin reading what this paragraph is about. Somewhere towards the end, the country's name Costa Rica appears, otherwise. So, here after a civil war in 1948, a military junta took temporary control and wrote a new constitution. So, where? So, where is this situation? So, it is very confusing and it does not give direction to reading. Now, we are going to make a small change, that is, we add now the topic sentence. Costa Rica has long been viewed as a peaceful, prosperous success story in Central America. So, now when you have this topic sentence, it becomes very clear that the rest of the paragraph is going to be about Costa Rica, and then in particular it is going to depict Costa Rica as a peaceful and prosperous country in Central America. So, as a reader you would expect details supporting that, and now you can see that the rest of the details fit into place. So, all these things tell us about how this has been a peaceful and prosperous success story in Central America. So, topic sentence is very crucial. It anchors your writing and it also helps your readers to immediately understand and then expect what actually is going to come in the rest of the paragraph. So, start with topic sentence and then you go on adding the supporting details. So, this ensures unity of the paragraph. So, that was the first element which makes a good paragraph, unity. Second is called cohesion. So, what is it? Halliday and Hassan, they define cohesion as a type of relationship within a text when the interpretation of one element of discourse depends on another. So, first of all, this is relationship within a text. So, there is some connection here. Then, so what kind of relationship? When you want to interpret one element, say one word or one sentence, that interpretation depends on another one in the same discourse. So, that is how the different elements are connected. So, in other words, cohesion refers to ways in which the components of the surface texts, the actual words we hear or see, are mutually connected within a sequence. So, how these things are connected, we are going to look at in detail. Halliday and Hassan, they observe that cohesion is usually brought about in two main ways. So, one is grammatical and the other lexical. So, what is grammatical? So, from the name you can guess this has got something to do with sentence structures and grammar and other elements. Second is lexical cohesion. So, this has got something to do with vocabulary. So, what are these? First one, grammatical cohesion is constructed by the grammatical structures. Within that there are four different ways: reference, substitution, ellipsis and conjunction. Within lexical cohesion, there are two ways, reiteration and collocation. So, this is the cohesive effect achieved by the selection of vocabulary. So, let us look at these subtypes in detail with appropriate examples. So, now within grammatical cohesion, first one is reference. So, what is this? So, reference is one item in the text points to another one for its interpretation. We usually say anaphora and cataphora. So, with the help of pronouns, for example, look at the examples. The man is living alone. His wife left him last year. His and him here are italicized. We know they are pronouns. So, what does his mean here? So, we know here his refers to the man. Similarly, him here again refers to the man who has been referred to earlier. So, here first reference to the person comes and then we use pronouns. So, this is called anaphora. Sometimes the reverse happens, first pronouns come and then the proper noun comes. For example, he is a superstar, he is the best in his era, let us welcome Rajkumar. So, who is he here? In this sentence and here. So, we know that when we hear the proper noun here Rajkumar. So, this is reference. Next is substitution. So, one item is replaced by another, but the meaning does not change. Look at an example. When I was a kid, I had a kitten, but then I lost it. I wish I had one now. So, the words it and one are italicized because the speaker has replaced the word kitten with these words. If the writer had used this word kitten again and again, it would have become very awkward. Now, because of this substitution, it reads well and these words clearly substitute this word kitten. Look at another example. You can replace verbs, you can substitute verbs as well. You think John already knows? I think everybody does. So, does here substitutes the verb knows. So, this is what we call substitution. A related technique is ellipsis. So, here you just omit, completely delete a word. You do not substitute one with another, that word completely is removed. Look at an example. What have you been doing? Swimming. So, ideally it should be I have been. So, this entire part is actually omitted and the context, the discourse helps us interpret it. Who was playing the piano? John was. So, here again playing the piano is actually omitted. So, this is ellipsis. The last one under grammatical cohesion is conjunction. So, conjunction actually refers to specification of the way in which what is to follow is systematically connected to what has gone before. So, I am presenting two ideas, two thoughts. So, how are they connected? Look at an example. He has little money on his pocket. However, he insists on buying the movie ticket. He will walk home for sure. Now, look at this conjunction, or also called as linker. What is its purpose? He has little money on his pocket. He insists on buying the movie ticket. Without it, now see, the two sentences do not seem very much connected. You want to use the linker however, and now the idea is very clear that you are contrasting these two things. So, he has little money, but still he insists on buying the ticket. So, that contrasting thing is brought about by this linker. Of course, there are various other kinds of linkers. We will look at some of these when we discuss language elements sometime later. Now, the next cohesion is lexical cohesion, and there are two things under it, reiteration and collocation. So, what are these? Reiteration is repetition of a lexical item or the occurrence of a synonym of some kind in the context of reference. So, you are going to repeat one particular lexical item, or you use multiple synonyms which have similar meaning within the same discourse frame. So, here is an example from literature. Let us look at it, paying attention to words which have been italicized. Alice caught the baby with some difficulty, as it was a queer shaped little creature and held out its arms and legs in all directions, just like a starfish, thought Alice. The poor little thing was snorting like a steam engine when she caught it. So, now see, baby, a queer shaped little creature, starfish, the poor little thing. So, all these refer to the same element. So, these are a kind of synonyms. So, by reiterating it, the whole text gets a kind of unity. Okay. Next is collocation. Collocation is the use of a word that is in some way associated with another word in the preceding text, because it is a direct repetition of it, or is in some sense synonymous with it, or tends to occur in the same lexical environment. So, there is some sort of relationship between two words. So, what kind of relationship? One, it could be a direct repetition. Okay. Second, it could be a synonym, or two words tend to occur in same lexical environment. So, this is an example from Halliday and her son. A little fat man of Bombay was smoking one very hot day, but a bird called a snipe flew away with his pipe, which vexed the fat man of Bombay. So, here you can see that this pipe and smoking, there is strong collocation bond. They occur together, we say smoking pipe. So, that helps us understand what this is. So, flew away with his pipe, flew away with his smoking pipe. So, that interpretation is possible because of the collocation bond between the words smoking and pipe. So, this is how cohesion is brought about using grammatical devices and lexical devices. So, the next question is cohesion enough to make a good paragraph? Cohesion alone does not guarantee identify a string of sentences as a good paragraph. Let us look at some example. My mom is 58 years old. 58 is an even number. Number 4 is unlucky in Chinese. So, you can say that here through the use of words, vocabulary, some sort of cohesion is attempted, but 3 sentences, they do not come off as connected. So, we cannot call this a paragraph. Now, let us look at another example here. Say it is a conversation between two persons A and B. It does not look like 140 students, it is Friday. So, here there is no explicit connector in terms of vocabulary or grammar, but you can sense that there is some connection. So, this connection is at the topic level or the idea level, and this is what we call coherence. So, coherence is connection at the idea level. This is connected to unity, which we have already discussed. So, coherence refers to rhetorical aspects of writing. So, developing and supporting one particular argument, synthesizing and integrating different readings. So, you have multiple readings on the same topic. So, that single topic is the binding factor here. Then organizing and clarifying ideas, a single idea. So, these are the kinds of different rhetorical aspects which help establish connection at the idea level. So, a coherent paragraph moves logically, knitting the thoughts together in an orderly way. The idea should flow into one another, making the relation to the paragraph's main point clear. You can apply several strategies. One strategy is to use organizational patterns, which are familiar to your reader as well, and it should be appropriate to developing your paragraph's controlling idea or the main idea, which you will usually express in the topic sentence. So, these organizational patterns have a built-in structural logic and can also help your readers to expect and understand the text in a better way. Say for example, if you are going to explain how acid rain forms, then the readers usually expect you are going to explain process. So, if you are going to talk about effects of global warming, so the expectation is you are going to employ a cause effect explanation strategy. So, these rhetorical structures, organizational patterns help bind sentences together at the idea level. Some people argue that this coherence does not exist only in the language, it exists in people as well. People tend to interpret text in accordance with their life experience, socio-cultural knowledge and discourse knowledge. To give you an example, let us go back to this. So, here we looked at two dialogues, two sentences here spoken by two persons. It does not look like 140 students, then it is Friday. So, if you are from this particular background of say a classroom setting, you are a teacher or you are a student at a school or in a university, then you understand this. Also, if you are going to work only 5 days a week, Saturday and Sunday is off. So, then you, when somebody says it is Friday, then you understand, okay, some people are already off because the weekend is ahead. So, this kind of shared knowledge, socio-cultural knowledge brings in coherence into the text. Okay. Now, let us do an exercise. We will look at 3 versions written on the same topic, 3 paragraphs, and so we will decide which one is the best among the 3. So, here is version 1. The hotel is famous. It is one of the most well known hotels in the country. The latest international dancing competition was held at the hotel. The hotel spent a lot of money to advertise the event because the hotel wanted to gain international reputation, but not many people attended the event. So, this is version 1. Now, let us move to version 2. The hotel, which is one of the most well known hotels in this region, wanted to promote its image around the world by hosting the latest international dancing competition. Although the event was widely advertised, not many people participated in the competition. Now, version 3. The latest international dancing competition was held at the hotel, which is one of the most well known hotels in this region. The hotel spent a lot of money on advertising the event since it wanted to enhance its international reputation. However, it failed to attract many people. So, now what is the topic here? It is about this particular hotel and its attempt to enhance its reputation, enhance its visibility. So, what did the hotel do? It organized an international dancing competition, but unfortunately it did not work. So, this is the thing. Let us go back to version 1. So, do you see any problem with this paragraph? Let us look at it in detail. The hotel is famous. It is one of the most well known hotels in the country. The latest international dancing competition was held at the hotel. So, now let us see how many times the word hotel occurs here. So, it is here, then it is here, then here, then here. Instead of, we have seen that you can use techniques such as ellipsis and substitution among others, or reference. Instead of those techniques, the writer here has repeated the same word. So, it sounds awkward. Then sentences are very short, and the connection, let us see. So, the latest international dancing competition was held at the hotel. So, the hotel spent a lot of money to advertise the event because the hotel wanted to gain international reputation. So, here the connection across these 3 sentences is not clearly established, but not many people attended the event. So, there are a couple of problems with this version. To add, this is an incomplete sentence. So, there is some grammatical inaccuracy as well. Let us look at version 3. This sounds okay. So, the international dancing competition was held there, which is one of well known things here. The hotel spent a lot of money there, however, it failed. Look how the paragraph begins. It starts with this dancing competition. So, it has foregrounded, it has put this piece of information in focus. Actually, the focus should have been on the hotel. So, you first introduce the hotel and then what it did, because the rest of the details are about the hotel, not about this dancing competition per se. So, the focus of the paragraph is on the hotel, but it has foregrounded this dancing competition, and therefore, the focus is lost. So, out of 3, this one seems the most appropriate. So, let us look at it. The hotel, which is one of the most well known hotels in this region, wanted to promote its image around the world. So, pronoun is used here. Then the linker, although the event was widely advertised, not many people participated in it. Though there is bit of awkwardness here, the repetition, overall this appears to be better organized than the other 2 versions which we saw. So, it is very clear that we need to be clear about the main idea and then structure the paragraph around that, giving the supporting details, connecting them logically. Moving on, we now look at a set of jumbled sentences. You usually come across these kinds of tasks in several competitive exams and even some exams which you take to go and study abroad. This exercise will help us understand the structure of a paragraph in a better way. So, let us attempt an exercise. So, here is a set of sentences which are actually jumbled. So, they are not in the right order. So, let us look at these sentences A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So, there are about 8 sentences. The cotton is picked from fields and processed. Once sewing is complete, some jeans are pre-washed and or stone washed to alter the texture and to produce abrasion. The ginned cotton undergoes carding and dyeing before being woven into denim fabric. The jeans are inspected for the quality of sewing and of metal buttons, zippers and rivets, and the completed pair of blue jeans is steam pressed. Patterns from the design are cut from heavy paper or cardboard. After being woven, the fabric is skewed and sanforized. The pieces of denim are cut with high speed cutting machines and the pieces are sewn in an assembly line. After dyeing, but before being woven, the fibers are coated with starch. So, now what are all these sentences about? These are all about, when we read it carefully, we understand that about how a pair of jeans is manufactured. So, now how do we connect these sentences? So, we know that the process usually starts with raw material and then ends with the finished product. So, the raw material here is cotton. So, cotton is picked from fields and processed. So, this is our first sentence. So, the rearranged sentences are here. Now, you see the word processed. So, that is your clue. So, that takes us to number C. The ginned cotton undergoes carding and dyeing before being woven into denim fabric. Now, you find the word dyeing. So, after dyeing, but before being woven. So, here is the two things are mentioned here. So, two processes, dyeing and weaving. So, something happens in between. So, the linker here after and before, it is crucial. So, after dyeing, but before being woven, the fibers are coated with starch. So, this is before being woven. Now, here is your linker after being woven. So, it has to follow this sentence. The fabric is skewed and sanforized. So, now the fabric is woven. So, now we move to the next stage. Patterns from the design are cut from heavy paper or cardboard. Now, once patterns are cut from paper or cardboard, the next step is cutting pieces of denim into those shapes. So, pieces of denim are cut with high speed cutting machines and the pieces are sewn in an assembly line. So, once this sewing is done, once sewing is complete, then we have this sentence: some jeans are pre-washed and or stone washed to alter the texture and to produce abrasion. So, once everything is done, then comes inspection. So, this is the shared knowledge. The final product is inspected, quality check, what we call. So, the genes are inspected for the quality of sewing and of metal buttons, zippers and rivets, and the completed pair of blue jeans is steam pressed. So, linkers used in these sentences and our knowledge about some manufacturing processes and the single idea, that is how genes are manufactured, all these things help us connect these sentences, rearrange the sentences which are jumbled, and now this looks like a neatly structured paragraph. Okay. Now that we have understood elements of a good paragraph, that is unity, cohesion and coherence, let us attempt to write a short paragraph. There are 3 tasks here and I am going to show one sample paragraph on one of these topics. The topics is I wish I had. So, this one, and let us look at the sample paragraph. I wish I had a magic wand. Things would be so much fun. Just one swish, heaps of money would appear before me. Then who's there to question me? Everyday parties and so much fun. And those enemies of mine, just another swish with the wand and they would turn into rocks, utterly lifeless and motionless. And those professors, I would change their mind and make them give high grades only to me and fail all others. Ah, my life would be so heavenly. So, this is a very short paragraph. The topic is I wish I had a magic wand. So, it starts with this topic sentence. So, when you say this, then the expectation is, so what would you do if you had a magic wand? The rest of the paragraph talks about those things. So, note here, this is an imaginary topic and so you have some creative freedom. So, you find just incomplete sentences. For example, here everyday parties and so much fun. So, that kind of freedom is here possible, but if you are say submitting an assignment or writing a research article, then it may not be possible, but still you can see that the rest of the paragraph here details out what has been said in the topic sentence. So, concluding on what we have discussed today, for a good paragraph, 3 things are important. Unity means one paragraph is about just one idea or one sub part of a larger idea. So, do not mix ideas within the same paragraph. Second, cohesion, we use several grammatical devices and vocabulary strategies to establish connections across sentences. Third, coherence, this is connection at the idea level. So, this is established mainly by choosing an appropriate organizational pattern or a discourse strategy like cause effect analysis, exemplification and so on. So, using these elements we can write a very well structured paragraph. So, as we mentioned in the very beginning, so once you master writing a paragraph, then it is just you go on adding a paragraph after another to reach a full length text. So, we looked at this sample paragraph on the topic I wish I had a magic wand. I will give you some ideas as to how to go about the other 2 paragraphs. and using them you can attempt to write your own paragraph. Let us take the first one. Eating blank is a challenge. So, you need to think of a dish which you find very difficult or challenging to eat. Of course, here also there is a touch of humor and fun. Say for example, you can say eating a burger is a challenge. Why? There is so much sauce there, there is cheese, and if cheese is melting, it is difficult to hold it in your hands. You really have to widen your mouth and then put the burger into your mouth, bite off only as much as you can chew. So, there is a saying, you can bite only as much as you can chew. So, otherwise it becomes very difficult to chew it and swallow it. If you are sitting in a company, then you do not want to embarrass yourself, your hands can get sticky. So, there are all these details. So, you could just first list down the details. Now, you have the topic sentence, eating say burger is a challenge, and the rest of the paragraph you explain why. So, it is a sort of explanation about, it is a sort of description of the process. Third one, blank changed my life. So, you can say this particular incident changed my life, or my friend changed my life, my friend's words changed my life. So, choose any one of these ideas. Say you decide the TV program changed my life, the documentary on tigers, say. So, till then you were not environmentally conscious, and after watching the documentary you realized how human beings are a great threat to wildlife and how tigers are so few and there is a severe threat, they may go extinct very soon if we do not take appropriate measures, and if that one species disappears, what is going to happen. So, that made you change your outlook about environment, about wildlife, and you have decided to be very environmentally conscious, and you have started avoiding say using plastic bags. Now, you focus on recycling things, you do not waste food, you try to take care of animals when you see them being abandoned, say a stray dog or something, and so on. So, first you write down the points, and then you have the topic sentence here again, dash changed my life. So, you would first say what was the event and why it changed you, and then you will say how it has changed you. So, you follow a chronology here and you develop your paragraph. So, this is how, using the ideas and anchoring them around the topic sentence, you can construct a neat paragraph. So, summing up on what we have discussed today, we have looked at structure of a paragraph and the elements which make a paragraph an effective one. So, a paragraph ideally has a topic sentence which captures the main idea, and the rest of the paragraph is built around it. The rest of the paragraph has additional details and supporting information. There are three elements which make a paragraph an effective one: unity, cohesion, and coherence. Unity is that a paragraph deals with one and only one main idea or one part of a larger idea. Cohesion is using grammatical devices, vocabulary to establish connections, and coherence is connection at the idea level. This we do by choosing discourse strategy or like narration, cause effect analysis and so on. In the next class, we will look at how we move from a single paragraph to a longish text. Thank you.